Hey guys, so I'm Kate, your plastic-free mermaid, and I'm here with Mike Schade, Mind the Store campaign director for.
Safer chemicals, healthy families.
That's right, thank you. So we're here at the Unwrap conference, which is put on by Upstream Solutions, and I have been learning so much. It's so exciting to be here, and Mike is going to help us understand a little bit more about PFAS.
Great. So what would you like to know?
Well, I've been recommending that everyone stay away from plastics, and when they're out in the world and maybe come across a deli or some takeaway food place, that the paper packaging, which kind of looks like this,
Right.
paper box at a deli or a salad bar, is a good option. However, I've learned today that that might not be the case.
Sadly not. Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
You would think so, yeah. So our Mind the Store campaign has been challenging big retailers over the past 5 years to get tough on toxic chemicals. So PFAS are a class of chemicals that we've been, over the past year or so, encouraging the nation's largest retailers to work to reduce and eliminate. These are chemicals that historically were in things like Teflon pans. They could be found in waterproof clothing like rain jackets. Unfortunately, these chemicals are incredibly persistent. They could last for thousands of years in the environment. And just like PCBs, they can be dangerous at very low levels of exposure. And sadly, our recent investigation, our report, found that these chemicals can be found in paper food packaging, including compostable takeout containers. Yeah, it's messed up.
But let's back up. PFAS stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances?
Yes.
Okay. And what does that mean? And how many substances are within that definition?
Yeah, so, some chemicals like, phthalates or BPA, there may be dozens of similar chemicals. In the case of PFAS, there are literally thousands of them. There's about 5,000 that big chemical corporations like 3M and DuPont and their spin-off company Chemours have been making for decades.
Okay.
And we've learned that these chemicals are dangerous because of studies in communities where these chemicals are made and also for the workers who work with these chemicals. And unfortunately, like I said, they can be found in paper takeout packaging, particularly compostable food service ware. So we put out a study this past December that found these chemicals. And the good news is, in response to the report, some big retailers like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's pledged to take action and start removing these chemicals from their products, which is great. But many other grocery store chains like Kroger and Safeway and others still have them in the products that they use and sell to their customers.
Okay, so it's not just the takeaway like boxes at the salad bar.
That's right. We've found these chemicals in things like microwavable popcorn.
Okay.
So, and that's a big concern because when you heat the popcorn, it increases the rate of leaching. The chemicals move out of the packaging and then get into the food that you and your family or your friends or whoever eat.
Right.
They've also been found in cake plates.
Cake plates. Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, there was a new study that was just released. The federal government has known that this is a problem for years, and a new investigation just found that the US FDA has documented very high levels of these chemicals in chocolate cake. So,
no,
it's
not even cake is safe.
Well, not saying don't eat the cake, but for us, we often say
share the cake and just disperse the chemicals.
Yeah. For us, we often say that we can't shop our way out of these problems, right?
Okay.
Like, there are simple steps that we can take to reduce our exposure. Like, instead of buying microwavable popcorn, you can, just cook popcorn the good old-fashioned way. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, precisely. And additionally, we think that...
Now, wait, what about when we're buying our kernels in bulk from the bulk food store and they're stored in a plastic bin?
That's a really good question. I haven't seen any investigations that has suggested that that is a problem.
Okay.
That's not to say that...
that it's not a problem.
That it's not a problem, but hopefully, I would hope that it's safe.
Okay. So where else will we see PFAS? I mean, at the salad bar, can we tell if the cardboard box is coated with PFAS? Is there, how do we see it? How do we find it?
Unfortunately, there's no clear label. So the FDA does not require companies to label whether or not consumer products and food packaging contain these extremely persistent, very toxic chemicals, the best way to know is really to reach out to companies and ask them. So when you go shopping at the grocery store or if you go to a restaurant chain, ask them, does your company have a policy on PFAS? What steps has your company taken? Like I said, some companies like Kroger and Trader Joe's have taken action.
And Whole Foods?
I'm sorry, not Kroger, Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. Meanwhile, other companies like Kroger and Albertsons and Safeway have not. So recently we found 8 out of 10 samples that we collected from Safeway and Albertsons stores in California and in Idaho tested positive for these chemicals, including the cake plates and the microwavable popcorn.
Okay, so it's just another plastic that is harmful to us that we should try to avoid by avoiding plastics in general.
It's not only in plastics, but the interesting thing is over the years, we've seen a lot of movement away from things like styrofoam, and companies have moved away from styrofoam to things like paper takeout containers, like molded fiber containers. And unfortunately, those materials are treated or coated with these chemicals.
Okay. So not just coated, but they could be treated, and so it's kind of embedded in the material.
Right.
Okay, got it.
So,
and what's the benefit for the companies? Why do they use it? What?
So that's a good question. So the reason that these chemicals are added in the first place is for food packaging, at least, for water or grease resistance.
Okay, got it.
So,
that makes sense.
For super greasy or fatty foods, that's why you'll usually see it there, like in microwavable popcorn or cakes.
So if your food container isn't going soggy, it's probably full of PFAS.
Probably. The good news is that we have seen in Europe big grocery chains like this company Co-op, who it's not like a local food co-op, they're a massive grocery chain. They've taken action and removed these chemicals in almost all of their packaging years ago. They were one of the first companies to get these chemicals out of microwavable popcorn. So we think if they can do it in Europe, U.S. retailers can and should as well. So we have a petition going right now to Safeway, who is the second largest dedicated grocery chain in America, after we recently found that 8 out of 10 products we sampled tested positive for the likely presence of these nasty chemicals. We've now launched a campaign and petition calling on other grocery chains like Safeway to step up. So one thing you can do is go to our website at mindthestore.org and sign the petition urging Safeway, the second largest grocery chain, to get these unnecessary toxic chemicals out of plastics, food packaging, and other things that they sell.
Is that how you got Whole Foods and Trader Joe's on board? Did you have petitions?
Well, sort of, yeah. So when we published this report back in December, in advance of releasing the report, so we collected samples from 5 of the nation's largest grocery chains: Kroger, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and what was the other one that we did? Ahold Delhaize.
Okay.
And so in advance of the release of the report, we reached out to the companies, we shared with them the results, we organized a webinar to brief them, and because of that, the companies started taking action and investigating this. So the day that we released this report, both Whole Foods and Trader Joe's announced that they were going to take action on these chemicals, which is great, but unfortunately other major grocery chains like Kroger, like Albertsons and Safeway have yet to step up. So we're now calling on these retailers, especially Albertsons, as one of the largest grocery chains in America, to step up, to mind the store, and to get these dangerous chemicals out of the products that they sell.
That's great. Thank you so much. Any closing remarks for people? Stay safe.
Yeah, the final thing that I'll say is if you go to our website at retailerreportcard.com, you can find out what retailers are leading and what retailers are lagging when it comes to safeguarding and protecting consumers from toxic chemicals that are in plastics and many other consumer products. Not just PFAS, but phthalates and BPA and flame retardants and other chemicals that are commonly found in plastics and other consumer products. So again, that's retailerreportcard.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Definitely check out that website, you guys. Check out Upstream Solutions. Check out unwrappedconference.org. And subscribe if you find these interesting. All right, have a great day.
Yay.
Avoid those plastics.